This video will walk you through the basics of creating a Google form for teacher observations. From my email, I'm going to click on this square of squares in the top right, which is Google's Apps button, and I'm going to go to Drive. In Drive, I'll see all the files that I have stored, and on the left, I have the option to create a new file, and I'm going to create a form. Forms are Google's names for surveys. I'm going to give my form a title, and I can choose from one of the themes shown on the screen. These themes are what the user who fills out the form will see. I can now start editing my form. This is the form edit view. The first thing I'm going to do in form settings at the top is uncheck this checkbox because I don't want to force users to be logged in with their email account to use the form. You'll notice that the title of the form appeared up here at the top of the page, and that is the file name, as well as right here, and this is the title of the form that will appear when you fill it out. Here's my first question. For a form that's going to track student observations, my first question title is going to be student name. This is where I'll choose the student I'm making the observation about. Down here in options, I'm going to add some student names. Unfortunately, there's no easy way to bulk upload names, so you have to put in names one at a time, and then you can hit enter to jump to the next box. Once you're done entering your names, you can leave the question as multiple choice you want, or make it choose from a list. If it's multiple choice, the user completing the form will see a list of names and will click the radio button beside the name they want. If it's choose from a list, they'll get a drop-down list with the options. Finally, we're going to check this checkbox called Require Question, and this will make sure that every time this form is filled out, a student name is selected. I'm going to now click Done to close the question. If I want to go back and edit the question, I can hover over it to get the gray bar and just click on it, and it will open again so I can edit. I have an option in the top right to duplicate a question or to delete it. If I want to see what my form looks like at the moment, I'm going to click View Live Form in the top, and this is my form as it would be filled out. So here's the Choose from a List option. To go back, I can just close this tab, and I should mention here that this will work much better in Google Chrome than Internet Explorer. If I change my question to multiple choice, and then go to View Live Form again, now you see the names listed like this. Both question types will give you the same answers in the end, it's just an aesthetic choice. Again, to go back, I'm going to close this tab. So these are two of the ways I can look at my form. One, I can be on the Edit Form page. Two, I can look at the View Live Form. If I want to make myself a shortcut to this page so that I can quickly fill it out when I see a student doing something that I want to record, I'm going to grab this little lock beside the URL, and I'm just going to drag that to my desktop and drop it, and then I'll have a shortcut that I can use to get back to this page quickly. You can also create a shortcut from an iPad, and for more information about that, send me an email. So, headed back to our form, we can now create, our edit form, we can now create some more questions. I'm going to use the drop-down beside Add Item to choose the type of question I want. Text and paragraph text questions give users a box to fill out that will allow them to enter data. They both accept the same kind of text. Paragraph text is just a bigger box as a visual cue that you want more information. Multiple choice and choose from a list offer users a choice, and they get to choose one. With a checkbox question, users get a list again, but they get to choose as many as apply. A scale question gives a predefined scale, for example 1 to 5, and users get to choose one of those options. A grid question has options across the top indicating the columns and questions along the side for the rows. Users can choose one of the options for each row. Date and time questions allow users to put in a specified date and time. So if you were setting up a meeting or a get-together and you wanted to ask people when's the best time, these questions would be the ones you would use. So I'm going to create a multiple choice question, and I'm going to use my multiple choice question to make an observation about learning skills. So I'll put in initiative as the learning skill I'm looking for, and as my multiple choice options, I'm going to put in the 4 levels: needs improvement, satisfactory, good, excellent. I could type in the whole word if I want. I could just use a letter. Or if I wanted to, I could put in the numbers 1 through 4 and have them in that way. This subsequent question after my student name is not going to be required. So there are my 2 questions in the form. I'm now going to click View Live Form, again to get a preview of what it looks like. So here are my 2 questions. As a final question on forms, I always like to add a paragraph text question and call it comments or notes, so that there's always a space when I fill out the form to add any other important details or information that might not be captured in any of these other fields. When creating a form for student observations, the more prescriptive you can be about the options, the easier it is to sort through all of your data at the end of the term or reporting period. The more open-ended you are with text questions, the more you're going to be able to customize your responses or your observations to what's happening in the moment and with a specific student, but then it's going to be a lot more to sort through at the end of the day. So it's a balance you have to think about as you're working and tweak as you start to use the form. I'm going to go back to my live form. Once I'm happy with how the form looks, I'm going to set up the spreadsheet, which will catch all my responses. So in the gray bar at the top, there's a Choose Response Destination option. I'm going to leave the title the same, click Create, and then I can click View Responses. And here's my spreadsheet that's going to catch all of my answers. So you'll note that the first column is always timestamp, and Google will automatically timestamp it. So I'm going to go back to my edit view, go to View Live Form, fill this out, click Submit. And the nice thing is Google is going to immediately give me another link if I want to submit another response. Now I can hop over to the spreadsheet, and there's my result, timestamped with my name, the observation, and my comment, all in one. Come the end of the reporting period, I can hover over the column letter and click the drop-down menu and select Sort A to Z, which will sort all of my records based on student name. This will allow me to, at a glance, see all the observations for a particular student. Once I'm done all my creation and editing, I don't have to come back to this edit page. I can use the live form to submit, and I've made a shortcut to that on my desktop, again just by dragging this little lock. And I'm going to go to my response spreadsheet to see what I've observed. If I close all these sheets and head back to Drive and make sure Recent is clicked on the left, it'll have my 2 files at the top of the page. This Recent view sorts your drive based on the last time you opened a file. I hope this has been a helpful tutorial. Should you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me.